morning again, and welcome to the fourth hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Thank you so much for being here. Let's follow up. We were talking at length this morning about the Kamala Harris interview with Brett Baer, and I never sought out Donald Trump's reaction. So excuse me, wrong story. I've got it here for you. Donald Trump reacting on True Social. So here we go. Here's Trump. Great job by Brett Baer in his interview with Lion Kamala Harris. She has a massive and irredeemable case of Trump derangement syndrome. So bad, in fact, that she is barely able to talk about any subject other than the man who had the best economy ever, the strongest border in history. You get the idea. And who just got the unanimous endorsement of the U.S. Border Patrol. Their endorsement was a tremendous honor. They said that Comrade Kamala did a terrible job, the absolute worst in memory, can't be allowed to do it again. She's also the worst vice president in history, hopefully will soon be gone. Again, congratulations to Brett Baer on the tough but very fair interview, one that clearly showed how totally incompetent Kamala is for the good of our nation. Her inferior cognitive ability must be tested at once, Trump says. So also, there is a portion from the interview that I want to share. This is a little bit of a video, and it's not very long, but I do want to share it with you this morning. And Denise, I think you're right. Denise says, she just wouldn't answer any questions about herself. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. What's on your mind? I chuckled. One of the media types said, "You'll notice Kamala didn't have a teleprompter or notes." Like this is a great achievement for people doing a TV interview. Yeah, it's a great point, Steve. I appreciate that. All right. Again, I want to show you some of this. Here we go. This is from Fox News. This is the interview last night. And it's not very long, but it's, you really see Brett Baer. What did you think of the job that he did, Brett Baer, last night? I just thought he was incredible. So here we go.
Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump. You call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff.
Now watch how Brett Baer just really holds her to this question.
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room.
Man.
And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done and make very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
I understand.
Talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
She just cannot get off the subject of Donald Trump.
You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who
I have a concern about her. Her in the White House scares the hell out of me.
Security community have all spoken out, even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he's
a handful of malcontents
and dangerous and should never be president of the United States.
They just say this stuff and they just accept
former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
All right, we're gonna end that. That's the end of the clip, which is good. I mean, you listen to that, it's just absolutely. David said that Kamala sounded a little intoxicated. She was slurring her words and distracted. It's all Trump's fault. It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? Blaming Donald Trump for everything. Again, you're running for office. What are your ideas? What are you bringing? This is like a referendum on Donald Trump. That's what she's turned into. This election. You listen to her, it's like it's a referendum on Donald Trump. What is she going to do to make your life better? I think it's reasonable for Americans to ask that question. Just absolutely incredible. Denise, you're right. Absolutely correct. It's crazy to watch this stuff. Donald Trump, meanwhile, I wanted to show this with you because this was, some of this I have not seen this morning. So this is all stuff that's all new to me. Try to, as much as possible, to share stories I've not yet seen that I've not covered during the morning show, because I don't want this to be a rehash of what, I've already told you about over the course of the morning. And this is video of Donald Trump. He was asked to name 3 things he admires about Kamala Harris. Now, I want you, as you watch this, watch the reaction of this woman on the right side of your screen, who just stands there almost just. I mean, this is her expression throughout the whole thing. It's pretty. She clearly doesn't like Donald Trump. So she wants to put Trump on the spot. And this was on Univision. Yeah, this is a clip from Univision. She wants Trump to name 3 nice things about Kamala Harris. And this is Trump's reaction.
Very hard question. That's the toughest question. The other ones are easy. I'm not a fan. I think she's harmed our country horribly at the border, with inflation, with so many other things. But she seems to have an ability to survive. She seemed, because, she was out of the race and all of a sudden she's running for president. That's a great ability that some people have and some people don't have. She seems to have some pretty long time friendships. And that's, also that's, I don't call that an ability. I call that a good thing. And she seems to have a nice way about her. I mean, I like the way, some of her statements, some of her, the way she behaves in a certain way. But in another way, I think it's very bad for our country.
So there was Trump talking about the 3 things that he admires about Kamala Harris, Steve. Yeah, that would have been a great response. I love it. I love you guys. All right. There was one other story that I had this morning. I'm going to wind up running just a little bit shorter here than normal, I think. We're talking about the House of Representatives and this is the panel, the Senate panel that's looking into the Donald Trump shooting. And I'm just seeing this morning in Newsmax. They're calling for a Secret Service shakeup. I've not gone through, again, as I'm preparing for this, I'm coming off the air and I find a number of these stories that I'm racing through them. So I haven't had a chance to look at it in detail yet. So this is the independent panel that's looking into the assassination attempt of Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And they found systemic issues with the Secret Service, a failure to understand the unique risks facing Trump, and a culture of doing more with less. So this is a 52-page report issued today. Takes the Secret Service to task for these problems. They're saying it needs fundamental reform. I'm trying to look if there are specifics. Here we go. Look at the report's key findings and recommendations. They echoed previous reports that have zeroed in on the failure to secure the building near the rally, had a clear line of sight to where Trump was speaking, And you notice then when Trump returned to Butler, Pennsylvania, he and Elon Musk, they had a big truck there blocking that building in line of sight, which they should have done the first time around. And in fairness, that's obvious given what happened the first time that building needed to be blocked. It's unfortunate they didn't have the foresight to do it the first time. So they said the failure to secure a complex of buildings represents a critical security failure. They go on then to planning between the Secret Service and local law enforcement. Secret Service failed to ask about what was being done to secure the building, relying on a general understanding that the locals have the area covered is not good enough. And in fact, at Butler, this attitude contributed to the security failure. They also talk about the fact there were 2 separated command posts, and that created a structural divide in the flow of communications. So the list of, so this is just out. Look at this. Other communications problems. Secret Service had to switch radio channels. All law enforcement personnel on the ground were using a chaotic mixture of radio, cell phone, text, and email throughout the day to communicate. It was unclear who had ultimate command that day. That's a big no-no. And this just goes on. Look at this. So this report, 52-page report. This is a report from Newsmax, kind of boiling it down. But I wanted to share that with you because I think we're going to wind up. Steve's still coming up with the Kamala Harris compliments. She has an eye for shoes. Her pantsuits are nice. That's all I've got for you this morning. I want to thank you for being here. Very much appreciate it. Please hit that like button before you go. Otherwise, I'll see you again tomorrow. So long until then, my friends. You take care.